Julie Oehmke, an artist and sculptor, works in the classical style on figurative art and human form. The Sioux Tribal Council of North Dakota has requested permission to use the image of her painting Rider in the Storm. Another of her works was selected as the cover art for the college textbook Native American Justice, published by Burnham and used throughout the United States currently. Julia has served on the board of directors of the Vanderpool Museum, the Chicago Society of Artists, and Chicago Cultural Center Senior Artist Network. In a review of the Chicago art scene in Newsweek magazine, the author commented on her painting, Mother Earth. He said, "Doesn't this work evoke Vermeer?" Her portrait of a firefighter killed on 9/11 toured the United States. Julia states, "Art is limitless, and it compels me to work. We need the near and familiar as well as the exotic. Art arises in the human spirit from the deepest levels of memory. It's beyond words. Whether representational or abstract in form, it's either good or bad depending on your point of view." Personally, she has to feel it before she can paint it herself. Please join me in welcoming Julia Oehmke.
This is so nice, thank you. Well, Joanne saved me from saying a lot of things. Thank you, Joanne. In the early 90s, maybe the late 80s, my husband and I went to Santa Fe, and we met this lady. Her name is Mary Kane, and her Indian name is Blue Rain. And I have never met a family like it. Her and her son both are potters, and I had to photograph her hands because to me, her hands did everything. But this is the painting I did of her, and I've been back many times to visit the family. I don't know what else I could say about that family. It's so wonderful. This is Mother Earth. I also met her in Santa Fe. And the one thing about painting the Indians is they have to give you the okay. You have to ask for their permission to paint them. And I was lucky enough to meet these people and go to the pueblos with them and see what they do. I feel blessed by that. So this hangs at a doctor's home in California. They bought this after I showed it. I miss it too. Thank you. There's a big story behind this, and I have the book there that if anyone wants it, they could take it. But when I went to a wedding in 1997 in California, we took a trip over to La Jolla. We were in this restaurant bar, sitting at the bar, and this man walked in with a little feather in his hair, and I said to my husband, "I have to meet him." And he said, "No, you don't do that." So up I went, and he was standing on the balcony looking at the ocean, and I walked outside and I introduced myself. In fact, there's a picture in the book of when I met him, and I asked if I could paint him. I knew all about it. He said he was a wrestling coach at the University of San Diego. So, but he wore his Indian clothes. He looked fabulous. So I kept in contact after I painted this for a few years, and then when I asked my family to go check on him and see how he was, he had already passed away. Yes?
Do you have a book of your Indian paintings? Is there a book somewhere?
No, I only have the little book, which is Miguel, with the story of when Jan and I, did I tell you that?
No.
About the producer that came to Chicago and asked if the artist would write a story of something of their paintings or whatever they do, and whoever won was they were going to get a screen test, and they were going to do something with that story and make a film. Well, so Jan Schweter, do you know Jan Schweter, the attorney in Crete? No. Of course, now her name is Reichert, but we got together and we decided what we would talk about. And she said, you know, he wears that lavalier. And she said, let's make it a story about that. And we thought, great. So she really finished the story. She's great. She's a great writer, but we didn't win. It was great. This is where I got the name Rider in the Storm. This is Gary Silk, who rode here all the way from North Dakota, horseback, with his companion Zita, the girl you will see later. And I think some of you must know Dr. Quaid. She's a chiropractor. She was in South Holland, and then for the last 30 years she was in Crete. She's a beautiful lady. And I don't know how she met Gary Silk, but she put them up along with their horses at her home. And then she called me and said, Julia, you have to come over and meet these Indians the way you feel about the American Indians. So I did. We had dinner together. They gave me permission to photograph them and paint them. And that was another wonderful experience. He also has passed away. So most of all the Indians that I have painted are gone. It doesn't seem possible, but it is. So this is a drawing that I did first, and then this is the big painting, and it's huge, and I will not sell this. This and Miguel are both in my home, and those are the only two I will not get rid of. I love them both. I do have the story that he wrote. It's called Rider in the Storm, and when I photographed him, he said, please, if you do any of my paintings or paint me, please call it Rider in the Storm. So I did. This is another one that while he was at Jeannie Quaid's home, he got on the horse. I took this picture. Then he had me get up on the horse, you know. And they came in two horses, a white, you'll see that in the next, I think it's the next photograph. Pazzi and Ska. Ska was the white horse, and the brown horse is Pazzi. And so he had me get up on the big white horse, and it's magnificent. I'll never forget it. So this is his companion Zita, and she was feeding the horses when I took this photograph. And this is also sold. It's in I think they live in North Carolina, the people that own this piece. But it's amazing when you paint something, you feel like they're your children. You want to keep them all, but you can't. When people want to buy it, you sell it, and that's the end of the painting. This was just one of the drawings that I did of her with her horse. They were so wonderful to be around. Now the story of that is why he rode. Would you like to hear it? Why he came and drove all the way to Crete and stayed, because he was on his way to the White House. Clinton was in office at the time. He was the president, and Clinton did not honor their treaty. So he did that horse ride all the way here and stayed at Jeannie's house for a while, and then they took off for Washington. They were blocked on the way. They heard they were coming, and they were blocked. They were never allowed in. So that treaty has never been taken care of. So that's why they have the rides that they do, and it's called the Rider in the Storm, because the last ride they took when they wore my image of him on the horse was at Yellowstone. So let's see. This is just before they went into Yellowstone. So this is him on the horse, and these are two girls that I found, and another when we went back to Santa Fe to visit Blue Rain. These two girls were sitting right in the park, and I was able to take their picture, and they were sisters. So that's what the name of the painting is. It's called Sisters. And I think that was the last time I was in Santa Fe. That was like in the middle of like 2005 or 6. So. I forget how I met this Indian. I have thought about it many times. I took that photograph and I painted it, but I can't remember if it was North Dakota or South or Santa Fe. That's why you should always keep a real good log where you're at.
Man or a woman?
That's a woman.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
This is one of my favorites. She was so beautiful, and it's called On the Mountaintop. Oh, this is very important. When Washington opened the new Indian Museum, we went and photographed. The one on the left was the parade, and the other one was the 3 Indians sitting with the fence there. And when I saw the photograph that was taken, I thought, okay, I put the Capitol in the background because it made me feel like they're now they're in with our country now. They're accepted because they've never been accepted. But that's my thought, my feeling. These are two I painted because I saw them. These were not photographed by me, and I just thought they were so lovely because one is I called it the water carrier, and the other one is the corn gatherer. And when I had a show, that was the show that you photographed at the Cultural Center, and my doctor bought those. So I was so happy because when I go to his office, there they are. They're hanging right there. So. At the Cultural Center, I thought it was very important because it was their 200th year Chicago, Illinois, 200th bicentennial. And that's when Reno photographed that because it was such an important date. And I did that with Sandy Hollibo. The two of us did that show. And I painted this because that had some meaning too, between Martin Luther King and Abraham Lincoln. By the way, that piece that you just saw of Martin Luther King and Lincoln, that is owned by the Cultural Center, so it hangs there, thank God. I thought I'd show you pieces of people that I did. just to end this, instead of more Indians. I at least showed you the powerful ones that I love so much and painted. But now, these are a few of the people that you know that I painted. I'm sure you know who this is. Mr. Scrimenti? No, you don't. And it hangs when you first walk in the door at the restaurants, you know. He was always so wonderful to his customers, and he always stood with his arms folded like that. And I had just gave him the invitation to one of my shows, and he stuck it in his pocket. So I named it The Invitation, and it hangs there.
What restaurant?
Scrimenti's. It's in Stager on Chicago Road.
What medium is did you do?
Most everything I do is in oils, except for some of the black and whites are charcoal, but otherwise, except for my sculptures and once in a while, the charcoals, that's mostly my medium is oil. I suppose you know who this is. Yep, Charles Lawton, that owns Lawton's. He blows the glass. And I was in his gallery in downtown in the Bloomingdale building for about 5 years, I think I was in his gallery. And I did this painting of his. And it hangs at his place in Crete, so I'm proud of that. This is the fireman that died in 9/11. About a month or two after 9/11, we were contacted by a professor from the North Carolina University, and she decided to get as many artists as she could to paint everyone that died, the police and the firemen. And I was so lucky that I got called to do one of the firemen, and this is his, and it traveled throughout the country. The last place it went was Ronald Reagan's library, and then they all went to the homes of the people that, of the dying person. So his name is Charles Anea, and they called him Charlie. And I still hear from them. In fact, they sent me a T-shirt that has the 9/11 on it, and I won't let my husband wear it. I studied at the Coverilla studio in Chicago about 2003-04, and studied there 2 years, and so I have enough sculptures right now. It's a hard job. It is very difficult sculpting. And when I moved to Indiana a year ago, I left all my sculpting equipment right there because their child is going to art school, and I thought I left it there for her. So.
What medium did you use for your sculptures?
That's clay.
Just clay?
Oh, yeah, yeah. In fact, when we went to New Mexico, I went to one of the foundries, and I bought, my husband never got over that because it was a 50 or 100-pound box that we had to take home. So, but I bought the clay from Santa Fe. Yeah. Last but not least, this, I'm sure you've gone to the Passion. And when it was first opened, and I saw that table with Jesus there, I thought, that's it. Okay, I talked to all my girlfriends. I said, you have to meet me over there so I could photograph you We photographed and I painted that, and each one has a copy. And I've already lost 3 friends that passed away, and 2 have Alzheimer's. And I thought we'd all live together forever, you know, but that's the way life is. So, and I thank you all. You know what? You never asked me any questions. You know, I'm surprised. If there's anything you want to know, yes. Yes?
When did you go to art school? And where?
I went to Drisey Academy of Fine Art. He started at the Art Institute, and then he quit the Art Institute and opened his own school in Glenwood. And so I studied 10 years with him because I had a business at the time, so I went at night till 12 o'clock at night. 12 o'clock at night, and then got up and was at work at 8 o'clock in the morning. I did that for 10 years. So, and then, and that was in 73.
So you were a young person when you did that?
Yeah.
But not right out of school?
No. No, I had my son. My son was 5 years old, and so Kenny watched him for 10 years.
Your paintings are beautiful.
Thank you.
So much feeling.
Thank you very much. I thank you. This was lovely. Thank you so much.